Hey guys, so in the comments section, Bitsy Keto was asking questions and she wanted to know my standpoint on where I came from, macro percents and things like that. If a person was going to track macros and I was to suggest a ratio for them, um, I like 65% fat and 30% protein, maybe 25% protein, and 5 to 10% carbohydrate as a start. I find that people with depression problems and anxiety problems, just extreme mental focus, they want to work on that. I find that they're better off at a higher fat percentage, like 80%. I've had a few people in my keto group where I've recommended more like 80% fat, 15% protein, and only 5% carbohydrate, and it seemed to work out very well for them because their main focus at that point is not necessarily trying to gauge the weight loss as much as bringing the anxiety and the depression down. Macro percents for older people are a little bit more specific because people, I want to say 50 and above, they need a little bit more protein to sustain their lean muscle mass. And most medical professionals will even agree with that. Even if they don't agree with keto, they'll still tell you that. So something more along the lines of 60% fat, 30 to 35% protein, 5% carbohydrate. And then there's like my age group, 20 to like 40 years old, seem to not have a problem with the 65 to 70% fat and the 20 to 25% protein and just the 5 to 10% carbohydrate. It's just when you start getting 45 to 50 years old and above that you need a little bit more protein to sustain that lean muscle mass, and most medical professionals will agree regardless. Now, if I'm working with somebody that wants to do cutting, like extreme cutting, I'll put them in a 20 to 25% deficit, and I'll actually bring it down to 60% fat, maybe even 55% fat, and 30 to 35% protein, and 5% carbohydrate. And maybe we even bring the fat down more and like almost even it out, 40-40, depending on how extreme of a cut that you want to do. A lot of times I just tell people, listen to your body. Pick stuff like bacon and sausage, things that have 2 to 3 times the fat percent as protein, and start incorporating that into your food. Eggs, cheese can be fine, but cheese can cause stalls. Dairy in general, very inflammatory. It can cause stalls. And then in a separate video, I will get into actually my theory behind ketosis and what I think about how it's being done mainstream versus how it was when it started. And I'll get into a little bit more of that with my theory, because that could be a little controversial. Some people don't like what I have to say because they like to feed off of what these mainstream doctors and ketogenic people that are basically doing this stuff for views are recommending. And that's their choice, and they can do that. That's their right. But me, I don't buy into a lot of it, and I think a lot of it's nonsense. So stay tuned for that. That's on the next video, guys. Alright, thanks.